Hey, 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 come on in, come on in, come on in. It's Tuesday, so it's once again time for Tea Talk Tuesday. I am T. Carter, the creator and founder of Tea Talk Tuesday, where our focus and our purpose is to edify, encourage, and empower. Come on in. How y'all doing? How's your week going? Did you have a great long weekend? What's going on? Talk to me. Let me know. Um, I'm so excited to be here with you. Do want to thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or the replay. We know there's a lot going on and a lot of things that you could be doing. So we just wanted to thank you for taking time out of your Tuesday or whatever day you may be watching this. Just come in and get some encouragement. So I'm just go ahead and jump right in. I live in right outside of Nashville, Tennessee. And for the past couple of weeks, we have been experiencing the joy that is cicadas. And so, as I was going through this process, the Lord began to deal with me about things that live beneath the surface that we may not be necessarily aware of because they're not visible. And so I have stories about these cicadas and how they don't have any respect for your personal space or boundaries. They really don't care where you're trying to go. And I'm of the opinion that they're probably blind because they will just run into you full force, full speed, with no consideration of how their actions impact you. But as I began to look into this, what I found is that cicadas spend years developing into adults. There are 34,000 species of this insect. And if you remember my story time from my experience with the monkeys, you know I don't like animals and I don't like insects either. But of these 3,400 species of cicadas, most of them emerge every 2 to 5 years. But there are these periodical cicadas that spend 12 to 17 years underground. And these are the cicadas that have graced us with their presence over the last, I don't know, probably 4 weeks. I think it's a 4 to 6 week cycle, so we're almost at the end. But what struck me is that they spend years developing in the dark. They spend years feeding on the root structure of trees. And while we are, doing picnics and using um, trees as props and pictures and climbing trees, we are seemingly unaware that there is something that is living just beneath the surface. And when they emerge, they have three primary purposes. If you've ever had the joy of and that's sarcastic, but if you had the joy of living in the area with cicadas, you know that they use their voice, like the males use their voice, and the females flap their wings because their focus um, is that they're vocal because they're focused on partnership and production. And so, what really struck me is that although we're not aware, they are growing beneath the surface. For 2 to 17 years, they're feeding on the root structure of the trees. They're doing all these things. They are silent, but they are still there. And it just really caused me to really think about how many people do we overlook? Um, and sometimes do we just not even see as valuable because they're growing and developing just beneath the surface? How many times have we, as people, devalued the gifts that God has placed on the inside of us because we don't feel that they're valued because they're not operational in the way that we expect, not understanding that they're growing beneath the surface. Um, but as you go through the life cycle, so at the end of the life cycle of one generation is the beginning of another. So they lay the egg. The egg becomes a nymph, and the nymph is what lives underground for 2 to 17 years, feeding on the root structure depending on the series. Um, and so what happens is, while we're out here, we're having fun in parks, we're not considering what's growing in our backyard, none of these things. We are in the same environment from the things that I personally, and so many people that I know, have been running from and detesting for weeks. But what struck me is that cicadas don't need anyone to tell them when it's time to fly. They don't need an announcement when it's their time to shine. What I learned in this research is that cicadas sense changes in the atmosphere that tells them that their time on the ground has come to an end. And it's time for them to rise above, and to really not only use their voice, but to focus on partnership and productivity. And so many times, as I began to reflect on my own life, there have been so many times that I noticed the change in the atmosphere, but I didn't act on it. And so I became frustrated because the atmosphere shifted and my response didn't. And I was waiting for someone else to give me permission to go to another level, to do something else. I was waiting for someone to affirm me or confirm me, to make an announcement of what I already knew was on the inside of me. See, just like the cicadas, we have an internal clock. We have a thermometer. We have something in our spirit that lets us know when it's time to emerge from the darkness. It's time for us to come out. It's time for us to go and do the things that we've been preparing for. Like we've been preparing in the dark, but it's time for us to produce. And sometimes we get so comfortable in this place because as cicadas, I've been here for 2 to 17 years. And so I spent more time developing than I did actually on the stage. Like even in the life of our Savior, we know that he spent the majority of his life in development and only a few years actually walking the earth fulfilling the purpose. But what we must understand that even the preparation is part of our purpose. And if we're not careful, we can begin to assume that the preparation is the finality of it and not understand that the preparation is the pathway to the promise. And so I was doing this study out, and one thing I realized is that I can go to bed with not one cicada. I promise you. We went to sleep and everything was the same. And we woke up and it was clear that their time had come. And the sheer volume that emerged out of the ground, out of the dark place, they covered everything. I mean, cars, trees, houses, people, poor little lawn people, they can't even mow the grass because they are making their presence known. And how many times do we have the confidence to really say, I know I've been preparing in the dark. I know that I've been underground. I know that I've been inconspicuous. I know that no one sees me. I know that no one is aware that I'm here. They're not aware that I'm being fed on the same root structure. They're not aware that I have purpose. They're not aware that I have the ability to make an impact. How many times do we really prepare in the dark, and are we ready to make an announcement? Are we ready to, I'm sorry, not even to make an announcement, but to just show up, knowing that our very presence may irritate people. Whew. That the very fact that we make the decision to show up and make noise will cause some people to be frustrated. It will cause some people to change their opinion. It will cause people to talk about us. It will cause people to run from us. But despite how people respond, do we have the courage to obey the internal clock and thermometer that God has placed on the inside of us to say, I don't understand it either. I've been underground from between 2 and 17 years, but I know that my time has come and I don't need your permission to do what God has called me to do, because the truth is I was created to emerge. The truth is I was created to come forth. And although you don't understand my purpose, that doesn't negate the purpose that God put on the inside of me. And I've been waiting for this moment. I've been waiting for this time. I've been here. I've been inconspicuous. I've been overlooked. I've not even been considered, but I'm here now. And the thing that blessed me about it is because sometimes we get so frustrated with the noise, and sometimes we're not willing to use our voice because of how we assume people will respond. But cicadas do two things. They do a variety of things, but two things that are very beneficial. Number one is they aerate lawns to improve water filtration. So they filter through, like they help the water filter through. They help the debris come out. They create space where things are compacted. They create space so that the nutrients and the fertilizer and all these things that we need can actually go and do what they're designed to do. And so, although I may be an agitator, I'm actually beneficial to the larger group. And then the other thing that they do, one thing that I was reading, they said if you don't like cicadas, if you want to avoid them, what you need to do is to remove the debris because they are attracted to the dead thing. They're attracted to the thing that should not be in my space. What they do is they bring awareness to the things that are no longer living, the things that are no longer thriving, the things that are no longer serving purpose but are still in my space, the things that I have not taken the time to decompose, to throw away. Those are the things that the cicadas are focused on because they can use them to hide. They can use them for all of these things. And how many times do we delay to remove things that are no longer beneficial? How many times do we hold on to baggage that no longer serves us because it worked in the last season? Um, there is this, like, if you think about hoarders, like when I used to watch it whenever I needed to clean up my house and I didn't feel like it, I would watch hoarders and it would give me the inspiration that I needed to go ahead and do what I needed to do in my house. But it says that they keep these things around as a substitute for the thing that they feel like they're lacking. And a lot of times it's people and relationships that they're lacking or they desire. And so instead of surrounding themselves with the things that they need, they surround themselves with all of this waste and trash that they're not able to move forward. It blocks their vision. It creates odor. If you've ever watched Hoarders, you know that sometimes it makes it unsuitable even for habitation. I'm not able to be, in some places, like the extreme places on TV, like the toilet system doesn't work. So I'm not able to remove waste and I'm not able to use my sink because now they're full and all of these things because I'm hoarding. And those are the things that the cicadas will be attached to. Those are the things that they will be attracted to, excuse me. And so as we go through this season, like if we're irritated by things, I'm going to go a different way. If we're irritated by things and we're like, God, why are these things around me and why are these things following me? Maybe it's because I have not removed the debris. Maybe it's because I'm carrying baggage that I know I need to get rid of, but I find comfort in it. Maybe I'm holding on to this because I'm unwilling to let go of a season or a person, even though it's no longer relevant to where I'm going. And my refusal to remove the baggage is what is attracting things to me that I do not desire, that I do not want. Look, I just want to be free, and I don't know why these things are chasing me. Maybe they're not chasing you, but they're chasing what's attached to you. Maybe they're chasing the things that we need to come out of and be separate from. Maybe those are the things that they're being attracted to. And so I can pray and I can do all of these things. But if the word of the Lord is to come out and be separate, then I need to come out and be separate. And so I don't even know where that came from, who that was for, but there you go. But cicadas also, they add nutrients to the soil once they decompose. And so I spent 12 to 17 years underground preparing for 4 to 6 weeks. And I don't have time to be worried about what people say. I don't have time to be worried about people feel. I don't have time to be worried about who's irritated and who don't like me because I can tell you they could care less. They could care less. They didn't care. Like there was a time I was running from and I thought I had made it. I thought I had survived. And I got to the stoplight and one of them was hitchhiking in my car. And even in that, they had no regard for me because they only have 4 to 6 weeks to do what they came to do. And so if you in the way, you're going to be in the way. Don't come out here. And a lot of us, including me, that's fine. You can have it. I will stay in the house. I will stay in the house. I don't need it. You can have it. But in this season, as I'm coming forth, as we're coming forth, as God is calling us to emerge, do we have this same confidence? Do we still have this? Do we have this same commitment? Do we have this same focus that I don't have time to be playing around with y'all? I got to do what God called me to do. And learning from the story, I got to use my voice. I got to focus on partnership, and I have to produce because I don't know how much longer I got here. Because not only do I have this 4 to 6 week time span, but there are also predators that I have to be aware of. So I understand that I got to come in and do what God called me to do. I got to work the work of He who sent me while it was day, because when night cometh, no man can work. And even if I don't feel qualified, even if I don't feel that people will receive me, even if I don't feel that I have everything that I need, I might want to feel like I need to spend more time in the dark because I'm comfortable there. I done spent 2 to 17 years there. Now you want me to come out and fly. And the truth is, before I went into the mode, I didn't even know I had wings. Right? I didn't know that I had the ability to do these things. I thought that my purpose was on the ground. I thought that this is what I was created for, that I was created to eat off the root structure and to stay hidden and to stay behind the scenes. But something happened on the inside of me. I didn't need anybody to tell me. I didn't need anybody to make an announcement. There was something on the inside of me that when the atmosphere changed, caused me to go through a process that I did not anticipate and I may not appreciate, but it was necessary for me to ascend. It was necessary for me to go higher. It is necessary for me to fulfill purpose. And when I began to fly, what I found is there was a group that was flying with me, but I couldn't see them when I was on the ground because I was so focused on the root structure. But now my focus has changed because my purpose has grown, it has shifted. And now I understand that what I thought was going to be my final destination was just a pit stop, that was not the conclusion of the matter, that the condition that I was in on the ground was not the conclusion, but it would continue into something greater. But I had to be able to take a risk. I had to acknowledge and adhere to the internal thermometer that changes in the atmosphere. When things start going crazy and acting crazy, I have to say, God, what is this? What are you showing me? I have to be true to what He created, because the Bible says that before He formed me, He knew me and He predestined me. And so, just like in this situation, I ain't too keen on cicadas. I ain't, but here we go. This is the revelation. There's something on the inside of me because He put it in me before He formed me. There's something on the inside of me that lets me know that this is my moment, that I can no longer stay hidden, that I can no longer stay behind the scenes. And no, I may not be comfortable and I may not be confident, because here's the truth. When I was on the ground, no one interacted with me. No one was aware that I was there. I wasn't antagonizing anybody. No one was frustrated with me. I was at peace and I was low. But when I decided to make an appearance, now people who weren't even aware that I existed got something to say. And you know, we out here, we making Facebook posts, we doing all kind of stuff. They done made the news, they done did all these things because I went to bed one way, but I woke up in a completely different environment. Why? Because they decided to emerge. And it impacted their decision to emerge, impacted everyone in this area. And when you begin to make the decision to emerge, your decision to emerge will have a ripple effect, that you will impact people that you may not even be aware of, that you will impact people that may not know who you are. But once you emerge, they will not be able to deny that you are here, that you showed up. They will be able to hear the sound, and they will need to and they'll be able to really respond. And how they respond is not our concern. How you respond to the gift of God on the inside of me is not my concern. My concern is to fulfill purpose because I ain't got that long. I have to have a sense of urgency about what God has called me to do. I have to be intentional and I have to be deliberate, and I cannot allow what people may say and what how people may respond to deter me, because I know that he who began a good work in me will complete it and perform it. And there is a benefit to the greater world because of what God deposited on the inside of me. And so I was going to do the story time and tell y'all about, the disrespectful cicadas that had me running and exercise. And I think that was good. I think there are people in my city that have exercised more in the last 4 weeks than they done probably exercised the whole year, because we've been running, we've been outside with, we didn't cover our head because we don't want to be attacked. They've been landing on everything. They don't care about your car. They don't care about your houses. They sure enough don't care about what's on your agenda. They out here to do what they out here to do. And if you don't want to be bothered with them, don't get in their way, because they will, I think they blind. I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up and see. It wasn't in any of my research. Either they blind or they bullies. I don't know which one it is, but I am so grateful that we are coming to the end of this season, because I don't know how many more of these experiences I can have with the cicadas, but I think, like, even in that, when you begin to look at things like in a different perspective, that the Lord will speak to you if you listen. And so, if you need an answer from the Lord, just open your eyes and listen, because, honey, these cicadas, child, look, that revelation came from the cicadas, and it got to be showing up God, because I was ready to create a cicada spray and sell it and make a couple $1 million in 4 to 6 weeks. That was going to be my thing. But just because they're an irritant to me doesn't mean that they don't have purpose. Just because I want to avoid them doesn't mean that they don't have something to do that's beneficial. And the truth is, it's going to benefit me as well. It's going to benefit my mind. It's going to allow the water to be filtered. It's going to help to filter out the things that are not good for the soil. And so I'll benefit from it, even though I ain't trying to deal with them. And so I just want to encourage you, just like the cicadas, to emerge, to use your voice, to make your presence known, to focus on partnerships, because we have things to produce. And so that is your encouragement for this Tuesday. If you believe this word will be an encouragement for anyone else, we're doing. I'm actually to like, comment, share, let us know. Have y'all been with these cicadas? How y'all survive? Y'all all right? We need to do a check-in. Like, we marking our safe from self safe from storms and all these other things. But I think I need to mark myself safe from the cicadas, because child. But until next week, I do want to encourage you. Now unto him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask, think, or imagine, according to the power that works in us. So let the power of God work in you, and let God do what only he can do through you. I go love y'all. Go have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week, same time, same place.